Politihoot! And now, from a lonely little corner of the Bronx.
The only starvation in Gaza is the starvation of the hostages. That's
So you're denying that there are hungry children, babies dying. These are the accounts of British, American doctors, Israeli human rights groups, people who are in touch. Multiple times I've interviewed people on the ground working there. So you're denying the accounts of hundreds of doctors.
Aid is coming into Gaza today through two mechanisms, through trucks and through the U.S. new initiative, which distributed 2 million meals in the last few days.
Here's the problem with this type of approach to the news. If someone says to you, it's raining outside, and someone else says, no, it's dry, your job is not to show both sides of the issue. Your job is to look out the freaking window. In Gaza today, 2.1 million people are living in a catastrophic situation of hunger, illness, and disease. The latest victim was a 4-month-old infant. This has been called the worst campaign of starvation in modern history. And now, Israel denies that they are starving the Gazans. They say starvation is not being weaponized. It's just repurposed as strategic nutritional denial. Now, I know that certain words like genocide or starvation are triggers for some people. So let's just look at the evidence, the data-driven evidence. The Integrated Food Security Phase Classification Partnership, let's call that the IPC, it's a global standard that measures food insecurity. It determines the severity and extent of food insecurity in various regions. These include UNICEF, the World Health Program, the World Food Program, 21 organizations in all. Now, the World Health Organization said, we do not need to wait for a declaration of famine in Gaza to know that people are already starving, sick, and dying, while food and medicine sit right outside the border, minutes away. This report shows that without immediate access to food and essential supplies, the situation will continue to deteriorate, causing more deaths and a descent into famine. Take a look at this map of Gaza. You can see that 3/4 of Gaza's population is at emergency or catastrophic food deprivation level, the worst two levels of the IPC's 5-level scale of food insecurity and nutritional deprivation. Now, since Israel's blockade of food, water, medicine, anything going into Gaza on March 2nd of this year, 57 children have died. 71,000 children under the age of 5 are expected to be acutely malnourished over the next 11 months, according to the IPC report. These children are trapped in a dangerous cycle where malnutrition and disease fuel each other, turning everyday illnesses into a potential death sentence. Malnutrition weakens the body, making it harder to heal from injuries and fight off common communicable diseases like diarrhea, pneumonia, measles. In turn, these infections increase the body's requirement for nutrition while reducing nutrient intake and absorption, resulting in worsening malnutrition. With healthcare out of reach, vaccine coverage plummeting, access to clean water and sanitation severely limited, the risk of severe illness and death grows. The long-term impact and damage from malnutrition can last a lifetime in the form of stunted growth, impaired cognitive development, and poor health. People are dying, while the World Health Organization and their partners' life-saving medical supplies just sit outside of Gaza. These organizations have protocols in place to alleviate all this suffering, and they're ready to go. Now, Israel claims that the aid trucks can't be allowed in because Hamas is stealing all the food. Of course, without any evidence. This is Cindy McCain, widow of Israel's champion, the late Senator John McCain, and director of the World Food Program.
Have you seen evidence that it is Hamas stealing the food? No, not at all. Not in this round. Listen, these people are desperate, and they see a World Food Program truck coming in, and they run for it. This doesn't have anything to do with Hamas or any kind of organized crime or anything. It has simply to do with the fact these people are starving to death.
Enter the USA, land of the free, home of the complicit. And Israel. No, don't criticize. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Their motto? Feeding hope. Eventually. Because food, like democracy, is best served after a 3-month delay and a biometric checkpoint. The GHF was formed in Switzerland this February with $100 million from an undisclosed donor, according to the Washington Post. Under the arrangement, the GHF would replace existing aid distribution networks coordinated by the United Nations. That means UNICEF, the World Food Program, all of them. And it would force Palestinian civilians to travel to these 4 hubs. That's only 4 distribution centers across southern Gaza. This would make them walk in perhaps intense heat from miles away from the north, which have no food centers, conveniently giving them a choice between starvation and leaving their homeland. Once there, they have to submit to identity checks, a facial recognition system that will separate the non-combatants, meaning those who have never posted something like criticism of Israel on Facebook, stuff like that, in order to receive rations from the GHF. The first set of these rations contained items like pasta and lentil beans, items impossible to prepare without water and cooking fuel, both of which is still not allowed into Gaza per Israel. And eventually, according to this plan, Palestinians would live in guarded compounds that would each house up to tens of thousands of these non-combatants. Yeah, I want the movie rights to this one. Really, can't you see it? We'll title it Fatima and Asher, a love story between a Palestinian amputee mother who falls in love with a trigger-happy IDF sniper who must choose between his love for her and his commander's order to shoot her remaining child. Come on. It's Sophie's Choice as a TikTok video. Surprisingly, there has been pushback on the GHF from those in Israel. Knesset member Avigdor Lieberman said on X, "The money for humanitarian aid comes from the Mossad and the Ministry of Defense." Oh, okay. And he continued his complaining, saying, "Hundreds of millions of dollars are spent at the expense of Israeli citizens." Hundreds of millions of dollars. And this at a time when, because of the genocide, Israel's economy is in the pits. From a society who, according to a poll conducted by Haaretz, Israel's New York Times, in May 2025, found that 82% of Jewish Israelis support expelling the Palestinians from Gaza. Who, according to another Haaretz poll, say that 47% of Israelis support killing all the Palestinians in Gaza. All those shekels just to kill those pesky Palestinians off softly. This would mean that Israel's military-industrial apparatus is effectively laundering massive sums of money through a weaponized aid scheme that forms the linchpin of its plan to ethnically cleanse northern Gaza. In a leaked internal GHF document, it acknowledged that the food distribution centers and residential compounds could be perceived as concentration camps with biometrics. The GHF did recently perform their maiden run with the plan. Just look at those many Gazans in a cage, cheering on their American benefactors who are sending them love. Yes, American contractors on the ground for the GHF, while armed Israeli troops controlled the perimeter. And as luck would have it in a food run, 31 Palestinians were shot and killed, 100 more were injured. Now, Israel reported that they opened fire because the Palestinians started a stampede and the soldiers felt threatened. But then, eyewitness accounts said that the stampede occurred after the soldiers opened fire. In response to that, Israel released a video showing Hamas shooting and killing the Palestinians. But oops! That video was of a scene in the past that happened somewhere else. Oh, Israel. You blame Hamas for everything. You talk about Hamas the way your uncle blames our nation's ills on the internet. Confusing, omnipresent, dangerous, and somehow responsible for every bad thing in the world. Trying to keep a friendship with Israel during this genocide is not working. Maybe we should try stopping the flow of weapons, ending the blockade, and feeding people because they're human, not because it's politically convenient. Until then, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation will be right there, bravely organizing the world's most underfunded bake sale at the gates of hell. If you find all this offensive, immoral, and not a good use of your tax dollars, you've got to let your elected representatives know, that your congresspeople, your senators, and yes, even the White House. And keep up the pressure. It's going to take a united front from all of us.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Are pesky militants hiding among a population of 2 million? Tired of all the international criticism when you kill all those others around them? Then you need mass starvation, the all-new one-size-fits-all solution for modern conflict. With mass starvation, there's no need to verify targets. Those high-tech terrorist finders like Lavender and Who's Daddy are costly with all their R&D, and those 1,000-ton schoolhouse bombs, well, they come in at a pretty shekel. But with mass starvation, just shut off the water, block the food, and sit back while malnutrition does the hard work for you. Why waste time with diplomacy when you can flatten infrastructure, destroy all agriculture, cut off food and water, blame the victims, and call it self-defense?
We're not targeting civilians. We're just accidentally bombing where they eat, sleep, and try to survive, and not letting any aid in. Totally different.
Do you condone cutting off food and water to civilians?
The president supports Israel's right to defend itself.
The UN noted that thousands of children are at risk of starvation.
The president supports Israel's right to defend itself.
Even Bella Hadid said her cousin in Gaza looks skinnier than her now.
The president supports Israel's right to defend itself.
Still unsure? Just check out our limited time bonus offer. For every child you make suffer and die, you get one free international shrug from your allies. Side effects may include war crimes, mass displacement, international backlash, and history judging you very, very harshly.
Mass starvation isn't security. It's a strategy of desperation disguised as defense. And civilians, wherever they are not collateral.
So that's all for us today here at Politihoot. Please leave a like or subscribe to the show or leave a comment below. You can also go to our Facebook page at Politihoot and check into Podline FM. You then can record your own voice and leave your own message that we might play on the show. Love to hear what you think.
Politihoot!